Good morning, Wake and Takers. How are we doing? We are back once again. It is Tuesday, September 30th. Week 4 wrapped up last night with an interesting set of Monday Night Football games last night. I'm not going to say good. I'm not going to say bad. One was bad. One was good. One was fun. One was a little bit exciting. There was a little bit of drama, between two teams, two winless teams that, one of them walked away with their first W. So we had some excitement. We had some fantasy points for 3 teams. And then there was one team that is just floundering like a damn Magikarp out there. Just boop, boop. They need to make a change. They need to do something over in Cincinnati. That is an absolute must. But, Denver, Miami, the Jets, they all showed up. They played football, which is more than we can say about the Cincinnati Bengals. How are we doing though, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining in here today, this morning with me. Like I said, lot to cover here today, as we always have on these Tuesday recaps here. Just a full, especially with we're just now getting into bye weeks. So we had 16 games to get through. We had 16 games of just information overload. We had a lot of big names go down for some of the season, some we don't know how long, and some guys that are kind of just on and off the injury reports that we got a lot to digest here. We got a lot to work on, and it's waiver day, so important to try to decipher what all of this injury information is here. Good morning, Jeff. How we doing? Welcome in. But yeah, so like I said, two interesting Monday night games, and then 14 other amazing games from Thursday to Sunday. Morning, Sam. How we doing? As always, guys, just gonna go ahead and let you know. Be sure to follow me on Twitter over at JOwens_FF. Follow me on TikTok at JOwensFF, and make sure that you are following and subscribe to the Player Profiler now and the Player Profiler main page here on YouTube, as well as over on Twitter. Make sure you got the notifications on, so that way whenever it is 10 o'clock Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can join me right here for Wake and Take. Hope you bring your coffee. I have the number 1 dad mug again today. I finally got my Wake and Take official mug, and I forgot that I don't have the mailbox key. It's on my wife's keys, so was not able to grab it this morning, unfortunately. But Thursday, I promise you, the mug will be fixed. But yeah, like I said, be sure to subscribe, get those notifications on, and like the videos that you like. It helps me keep doing this. It helps everyone on the Player Profiler Now network continue doing what they're doing. And be sure to just check out all the shows. We got a wide range of shows, from Dynasty, from Devi, DFS, just a little bit of everything on the network. So make sure that you're tuning in. Sam, I always answering questions, always trying to keep up with the chat and make sure that I'm answering the questions as they come in. So feel free to ask away, and I will get to them as quickly as I can. But I am going to jump in right now to the Monday Night Football breakdowns. Starting with Cincinnati, Denver, since I feel like that one was a little bit more of a straightforward game that we saw here. I did tell you guys on Thursday to start J.K. Dobbins. He wasn't an absolute smash spot. Should have had a much bigger game, but this definitely felt like a tune-up game from Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos in general. They've been kind of struggling on offense. They haven't been bad, but they haven't been good. They've just been kind of very much back and forth, and it cost them a couple games, like against Indianapolis. So I think that this was them trying to get Bo Nix going, and they also very much looked like they wanted to get RJ Harvey going, and they definitely did. Breakout game happening. You guys will hear all the rookie running backs that everyone was panicking on. They're all starting to hit here and break out. So we're going with these rookie running backs. Like I said, RJ Harvey, 14 for 58 on the ground. More importantly, 4 for 40 and a touchdown in the air. Had another missed opportunity in the air, but was just a little bit of a not quite perfect connection between him and Nix on the earlier in the game. But RJ Harvey gets it done. Looked good, looked explosive. I think this Broncos offense is finally, like I said, this was their tune-up game against an easy cake matchup where they were just able to get things going. They could have just ran the ball a million times and gotten out of there, but like I said, Sean Payton really seemed like he wanted to just get Bo Nix more comfortable, get him into a groove. Bo Nix threw the ball 42 times in a game that he did not need to. Did not need to throw the ball 42 times. This team would have won throwing the ball 25 times. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. So Bo Nix walks out with a great game. And we could see that more with a team like the Bengals, where they're not threatening to anyone on offense, on defense. This is 100% a get right matchup for teams. So don't be shocked to see things like this for teams that might be a little bit struggling or that just wanted to keep things rolling. So like I said, could have been an absolute smash week for J.K. Dobbins, who I told you to start. Still 16 for 101. It's not bad. Not killing you there. It's just not the big blow up game that I was expecting here. Like we saw from Jordan Mason a couple weeks ago, but still good. RJ Harvey, good. Cortland Sutton, great. And really, the wide receivers and the target distribution, obviously 42 attempts in the game means that everyone's going to have some decent targets, but Marvin Mims was out there 6 for 6 with a rushing touchdown as well on an end around there. Cortland Sutton got his 5 for 6, 81 and a tutty. And then Troy Franklin had 8 targets. Not the sexiest stat line, 4 for 55, no touchdowns this week, but he is still he's consistently out there. He's consistently getting targeted. We know he has the Bo Nix connection. So if anyone's down on him and is trying to drop him, obviously with bye weeks and everything coming up, people might be dropping him. Make sure Franklin's rostered right now. He is only 44% rostered on Sleeper. So make sure that he is on a team because he is just consistently out there getting targets. Evan Ingram, a quiet game as well, but still 7 targets, which is good coming back from the injury. So that was the issue where weeks 1 through 3, you're like, what the hell is going on with Evan Ingram? He's supposed to be a target hog, and just dealing with injuries and everything, it's kept him off the field. So I think it's promising to see 7 targets from Ingram. Again, I don't think that 42 pass attempts from Bo Nix is going to be the norm here, but in matchups where it could be, I think Evan Ingram's still got it, still worth a shot. He had out-targeted Troutman and Adkins. Both only had 3 targets there in the tight end room. So it seems like there's a little bit to go around here when they do open up the passing, but I still think that they want to win games through the ground game, which, I mean, they got 2 very capable running backs here. So I definitely could see that. Before I jump over to the miserable Cincinnati Bengals, let's see, Sam, what we got here. Should I trade Chuba for J-Mo? You lost Nabers and you need some more wide receiver help. You got Trey Benson, Alvin Kamara, Jordan Mason, Tony Pollard, and Judkins. I don't hate going after J-Mo, but I think right now, if you're looking for someone more stable, you might want to look somewhere else other than Jameson Williams. I think that J-Mo's going to have his games. He's going to have his big plays, but the targets just aren't there right now. The Lions offense is very much Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, guys like, I'm going to talk about it later, but guys like David Montgomery, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, they're going to have spots, but it's not going to be anything consistent. So if you do have another, like a running back needy team out there that could use a Chuba, I would look for someone that's got a little bit more stability, someone that has just some more guaranteed targets on a weekly basis. So you're not sitting here like a Jacoby Myers type guy who is going to get his targets. It's not always going to be the prettiest. But I mean, he's just consistently on the field, consistently getting targets. I'll try to think of some more guys as I'm running through here, but I don't hate it if you love Jameson Williams, if you like Jameson, if you think that that's it. But I think if you're looking for someone to replace a Nabers, you want more consistency, more stability in the target department. And right now, Jameson's just not that. I just don't think that the Lions offense is going to be that this year. It's very much turned into Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gibbs. That's it. And then everyone, like I said, Montgomery, Jameson, they'll have games depending on game script, but Jameson Williams can very much easily be game scripted out of games. So that's my take there. Appreciate the question. If you got any more, please feel free to send them out there. Appreciate it. Fantasy Condo, good morning, sipping some coffee. Gotta have it. Tired, man. Tired, but we're here. We're excited. It's waiver day. was up late trying to watch the end of that Cincinnati game. I had my guillotine league that I'm in came down to the absolute wire. It wasn't me. I was safe, but I still wanted to see what the outcome was going to be. We had one team that needed T. Higgins to get 4 points for the entire second half. It was like 4 point something and came up just short. So someone survived by the skin of their teeth. So I was up late watching that, text in the group chat, just enjoying that. But speaking of the Cincinnati Bengals and T. Higgins, it's ugly. It is absolutely disgusting. You can't even call it football. You can't even call it football. Good morning, Happy. How we doing? Sorry that you're coming in here for this ugly talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, but I mean, it's not real football in Cincinnati. At least while Jake Browning is the quarterback for the team. He looked bad playing. He couldn't even organize the team. There was I don't even know how many penalties on like just getting the offense set up, like delay of games, false starts, just there's chaos everywhere and there's no production whatsoever. Obviously tough matchup against Denver, but still just 159 yards total. Yeah, 159 total yards from this offense. Cincinnati is just, it's bad. It's real bad. T is unusable. Absolutely. He is unusable as long as Jake Browning is the quarterback. I'm begging Cincinnati to go trade for a Jameis, to go pick up something that's better. I get that Jake Browning has stepped in and done okay before, but this is a different team. This team needs someone that can just do anything. And Jake Browning isn't that. He is good when he can just take a moment to deliver the ball to Chase, to Higgins, to Brown. But right now he doesn't have the time. He doesn't have even a semblance of a defense. He doesn't have a semblance of a run game. There's nothing around him. And Jake Browning is not going to raise any ships himself. So we need someone like a Jameis Winston. We need a Jameis Winston. I'm quite literally like begging for Jameis Winston to go to Cincinnati and just save this team. Even a Ryan Tannehill. Good Lord. Like just anything. I don't even know where Gardner Minshew is, but go get Gardner Minshew. Go do something. Do something to make this watchable. The Cincinnati Bengals finally started a season 2-0. They didn't have to crawl from the basement, and all of a sudden they're right back in the basement. They're right back looking like one of the worst teams without Joe Burrow out there. It's just, it blows my mind how this team begs for a hot start. They get the hot start, even with Burrow going down for months to just atrocious turf toe. And then they Fugazi, waste it. It's gone. Poof. The hot start's gone. It doesn't matter. This team looks terrible. And honestly, the AFC North looks strong. Baltimore obviously not having a lot of luck in the injury department or in the score department, but they played a lot of tough teams. 1-3 is not representative of the Baltimore Ravens as a whole. Yes, the defense bad. Yes, everyone banged up. But this is a tough division. So they're once again, Cincinnati is looking at the bottom, looking up, clawing back, and they don't even have Joe Burrow to carry them right now. So Cincinnati Bengals are very much unusable as a whole. The only one that you can confidently start, and I would even say confidently, the only one that you have to start is Jamar Chase. And we saw in this matchup here against Patrick Surtain, and even just in general, 5 for 23 and 0 touchdowns on 8 targets. So the target's obviously there, but 23 yards on 5 receptions. They need to change something. If they don't change anything, then they've given up. They've completely given up on this year. And we should see some trades happen out of Cincinnati with how long Burrow is going to be out. Hendrickson probably would get moved. T. Higgins, a potential move, just because we've seen that they don't want to pay these guys. They don't want to sign them to long-term deals. And I mean, if they're not going to sign to the long-term deals, get something for these guys that you don't want to keep around. You got your core of Burrow and Chase. And that's, if you're looking to next year already, if you're already giving up and keeping Jake Browning out there, make some moves. So I'm sure we'll hear some whispers coming out. But that was Cincy. Denver spent way too much time talking about Cincinnati there. Sorry. Little rant, just gross football. But the other Monday Night Football game in our doubleheader that we had was the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. And there's quite a bit about on this game that we'll talk about later. So I'm just gonna hit some high points here. So Braylon Allen did leave the game and was ruled out around halftime-ish, a little after halftime, with a knee injury that he sustained on a kickoff return. Don't like to see that. Don't like to see a knee injury knock someone out and keep them out for a game. So we'll keep an eye on the injury report there. But honestly, Braylon Allen was more of just like a pure handcuff hold right now. Isaiah Davis, next man up, kind of steps into that pure handcuff role. But I really think that the fallout, if Braylon Allen misses extended time, is just going to be Breece getting fed more. But in your deeper leagues where you have a stash, you have some stash spots, Isaiah Davis, pretty good stash to keep on your bench there. Mason Taylor is kind of emerging here. He's a rookie tight end. A pleasant surprise where he had 7 targets, caught 5 of them for 65 yards. Not laying the world on fire, not going to be a priority ad on people's waiver wire, but someone that, for someone like me, who has Kyle Pitts on bye, or one of Tucker Kraft. Let's take a look at the bye weeks here. Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Green Bay. So Tucker Kraft, Cole Kmet, Kyle Pitts, and I'm not going to name the Pittsburgh tight ends because it's not like you're looking to start them anyway. If you got one of those guys, Mason Taylor, not really a bad little snag here after waivers run. A couple fab dollars here just to try to snag someone like him off the waiver wire. If he's going to keep 7 targets, and honestly, I don't think that the Jets are going to be stopping a whole lot of teams, really. Like they weren't bad on defense. They weren't good on defense. And that just kind of seems to be where the Jets live on defense. So I think that Mason Taylor getting 7 targets is promising. And he's kind of making a push for the third skill player that could be started from the Jets. Right now, like I said, it's Breece, it's Wilson. You must start those 2 every week because they're going to get the volume and they have the talent to produce. But it looks like Mason Taylor, especially in an ugly tight end landscape with bye weeks and injuries, he's a very usable guy. He's someone that you could plug in and hope for the best here. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Espresso Shot recap from week 4. I came in when I first started talking about it. Justin Fields was ranked at QB 20 when I first wrote it down on my show sheet for Thursday. He was QB 20 as soon as he was confirmed as the starter, and that he was going to be back cleared from concussion protocol. He jumped up to QB 11. So I said, you know what? Top 10 from top 11, that's too small. I'm going to say top 5. And guess what? Justin Fields delivered. QB 4 on the week. Did he have the best NFL game? No. But does that matter in fantasy football? No. 226 in the air with 1 touchdown. So good, great there. I mean, that's a good passing stat line for Justin Fields. But the important part, 7 carries, 81 yards, including a 40-yard run for a touchdown, and then a 2-point conversion to top it all off. 27 fantasy points in your 4-point leagues. Just, I mean, that's why you start Justin Fields. That's what you have to do. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. It doesn't matter if you don't think he's going to deliver in the passing game, because he can run the damn ball so good. And look, this team, like I said, this team is not like they're stacked full of weapons. It's Garrett Wilson, it's Breece Hall, and Mason Taylor starting to come out. So if those 3 guys aren't there, guess what Justin Fields is going to do? Tuck and run. And so you have to start him every week. I don't care what anyone says. You have to start Justin Fields every week that he is playing, because every single week the rushing upside is too good and it provides a floor. I mean, on 7 carries, 80 yards and a touchdown. That's amazing. That'll save any week, even if he's not getting it done in the air. So Justin Fields locked in as an every week starter. Done. Finally, I hit on the Espresso Shot. I missed week 3, so 1 for 2 on the Espresso Shots, and we're back. I'm gonna take a sip to that one. Espresso Shot, baby. We're here. We're making the big calls. But yeah, so like I said, you got to start Justin Fields every single week. Quincy, good morning. How are we doing? Let's see. We got 4-0. Would you drop Chase Brown, Mark Woods, and would you drop T. Higgins for Wandale or Slayton? I wouldn't drop T. Higgins for Wandale or Slayton. Honestly, I don't know what the New York shakeout is going to be. I don't know if Jackson Dart is going to throw the ball enough to prop up a Wandale or Slayton. I think you just got to kind of You got to take your lumps with T. Higgins, keep him on the bench, and hope that something happens in Cincinnati. Obviously, tough. It's tough, especially after the Denver matchup. But I wouldn't do that. And I'm assuming Mark Woods is Woody Marks. I wouldn't. I feel like you got to have someone else to drop instead of Chase Brown. He's another guy where you just got to kind of take your lumps. And there needs to be change in Cincinnati if they just continue to roll out this terrible offense week after week. That's an issue. So I would say find a pivot, but I wouldn't drop either one of those guys. No. With Jaden Daniels, no. Fields over Jaden Daniels, no. I'm keeping Jaden Daniels. They're both great options, but you get the rushing floor and the rushing upside on both these guys. Obviously, Jaden Daniels dealing with the knee injury, but we've seen Jaden Daniels just be a much more put together passer, and he's got a lot more weapons. He's got Debo, he's got Terry McLaurin. So I would stick with Jaden Daniels over that. If you want, maybe try to flip Fields for a running back or a wide receiver. If you're clearly contemplating dropping a Chase Brown or T. Higgins, you got some Bengals on your roster, so maybe try to flip Fields for one of those guys, or maybe just hold on the Fields for one more week as Jaden Daniels is still working his way back. But no, I would stick with Jaden Daniels over Fields on a weekly basis. Jumping into the news, like I said, we got a ton of big names out there that are dealing with injuries, and serious injuries. Two of these guys are done for the season. We saw it last night. Tyreek Hill confirmed dislocated his knee and tore an ACL and other ligaments in his knee. So very much clearly done for the season. Don't know how he's going to what he's going to look like coming back after such a crazy injury like that. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it was gnarly. It made my stomach turn. So Tyreek Hill out for the season. And in the wake of that, it seems like, Jalen Waddle obviously is going to be propped up even more now. He's going to be needed to be leaned on. So injury risk on every single play, be damned. You have to play Jalen Waddle on a weekly basis now. And I think that his ceiling goes up because we know that they have Achane and they have Darren Waller now who can take those short intermediate targets. So the big plays do seem like they might go more towards Waddle's way. They might try to scheme him into space more, that they more into like a 50-50 role of where he was with Tyreek and without Tyreek. So I think Waddle's ceiling is the one that goes up the most here. Achane, just ultimate floor play now. Like dudes with glass cannon ability to bust off any run for a touchdown. So you get just great amount of stability here with Devon Achane because his targets will go up from this more than they already were. He was already sitting at a crazy target share with Tua doing his dink and dunk stuff. 25% target share, number 2 out of all the running backs right now. That's not including last night's game, so probably went up from there because he only had two targets last week, so probably around like a 22% target share. But for a running back, the only person that's ahead of him right now is Christian McCaffrey. And he's going to remain there because Christian McCaffrey also in a very barren receiving core. So with this Tyreek injury, like I said, Achane, just you keep going with him. Waddle becomes a must start, in my opinion, on a weekly basis due to just, like I said, the increase in targets and the fact that his ceiling goes up much higher. Sorry about that. But Darren Waller is really kind of the surprise out of this, where he comes in, he didn't even play a full complement of snaps. He didn't really get like the full game going, but he still comes away with 2 touchdowns on 4 targets? Was it 4 or 5? Yeah, 4 targets. He caught three of them for 27 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's not only that he was getting the targets, but it was in the red zone, which is huge. And I think Darren Waller, a must add, a must start tight end right away, unless you have one of the top guys like Bowers, McBride. I think that Waller is very much a grab and start immediately. I think that his role and his targets are only going to increase, obviously, with this Tyreek injury, and just from the fact that he's working his way back. He's just getting back in. He's been off of football for 2 years. He came in dealing with an injury already, so I think we just see the role build and build and build. And we saw what Jonnu did last season, And I think that Waller is just going to step right into that exact Miami Dolphins Jonnu Smith role. So I think it's wheels up right now for Darren Waller. If you stashed him in your dynasty leagues like I did in quite a few places as soon as he decided to come back, you're feeling pretty good right now. And if you are on like a rebuild team and you did stash him, sell now, because if he's not playing next year, he's not going to do anything outside of this year. So sell for whatever the hell you can, a third, a fourth, anything at all that you can get for Darren Waller on a rebuild team. Do it. In your deeper leagues and in your dynasty leagues, obviously Malik Washington becomes a little bit interesting. Maybe a toss in some dynasty trades, or like I said, in your very deep seasonal leagues, he's worth a stash in my opinion, just because like Miami's going to have to score. Their offense isn't bad right now. It's not great, but it's not bad. So in your deeper leagues, go ahead, feel free to stash him. The other serious wide receiver injury that we dealt with, the New York Giants, we saw Quincy ask, or not Quincy, but Sam ask about it with Nabers being out. Confirmed ACL tear here as well for Nabers. A brutal blow because, I mean, New York comes out with a big win against the Chargers and Jackson Dart's first start. So it's absolutely devastating to the Giants franchise. But Dart, like I said, Dart brought life to this team. So it's a very much, they were riding high, and now they're kind of like the wind's knocked out of them with Nabers done for the season. In terms of fantasy football, though, I think that this makes obviously Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton are the next guys up in terms of just target share, but I don't know what that means with Jackson Dart at quarterback. We saw him moving the chains and doing things, but a lot of it was scrambling on the ground. It was not all in the air. He only threw the ball 20 times, which, I mean, it's his first game as a rookie against, it wasn't a bad defense, but 10 carries for 54 yards. So he took 10 pass attempts out of this offense to just scramble, run the ball. A lot of it was scrambling. There was some designed runs there for him as well. So I'm concerned with guys like Wan'Dale, Darius Slayton, even Theo Johnson had 5 targets and was one of the leaders of targets on this team. But again, what does the volume actually look like? I'll grab one of these guys if I need a stash to see, but I'm not starting any of these 3 guys confidently. Really, the only 2 Giants that I'm looking to start right now would be Jackson Dart as a QB streamer, because, I mean, 10 carries, 54 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Same thing with Justin Fields. It doesn't have to be pretty in the air if you're running the ball. He came away with almost 20 fantasy points in 4-point passing touchdown leagues. So I think that his rushing makes him a very viable matchup streamer. But I will be interested to see in a game where they might have to pass the ball, where they're playing from behind, what that looks like. But really, I think that it's, like I said, it's Dart as a streamer, and then Cam Scatterbo is that dude right now, just from a pure volume standpoint. The efficiency metrics aren't great. There's nothing special there. But just in terms of raw volume, carries, targets, in the past 2 weeks with Tyrone Tracy going down, he's had a 19% target share and 68% of the running back opportunities over the past 2 weeks. So he's very much a floor-based running back right now, but he's a running back 2 with running back 1 upside, because he's getting it done. Like, he's not, like I said, it's not pretty. The metrics don't say like, oh, this guy is just destroying everything. He's just doing it by being a blunt force, like, object, bashing his head into a wall repeatedly, which, I mean, we know Cam Scatterbo, that's on brand. It's on brand. So you got to keep rolling with Scatterbo, and I think you roll with Dart as a streamer. I want to see what the targets look like. Like I said, in a game, in a more negative game script, I want to see how much they let Dart really open it up. So we'll keep an eye on that in week 5. But right now, like I said, Dart, Scatterbo are who you want right now. Lamar Jackson is dealing with a hamstring strain. He left the game against Kansas City early, and he did not come back. Harbaugh came out and said, does not matter what the score was. If it was a close game, if they were up, it did not matter. He was not going back in that game. So it seems like it's a pretty serious one. We typically see like a 2 to 3 week turnaround time on this from what I've seen on Twitter. And there are whispers right now that Jackson could be held out until after the week 7 bye. So we could be planning to see the next 2 weeks with no Lamar Jackson, which is not good for this team that is struggling right now. Jackson isn't the only injury they have. They have a ton of defensive injuries. They have a ton of injuries in general. So this team is kind of going through it right now. It'll be interesting to see what the offense looks like without Lamar. I would think and hope that with Cooper Rush as the quarterback, or maybe even Snoop Huntley, they brought him back. But with one of those two guys at quarterback, I'm hoping that we see more Derrick Henry early and just get him going. Game script has really just not been Derrick Henry's friend. And we've seen that with Baltimore, but that's always been with Lamar Jackson out there, that the game script gets bad. They throw Justice Hill in and they're trying to speed up the game. So with the defense being bad and everything, and the offense just not being able to get it done completely, Derrick Henry only had a 39% snap share this week and 11 opportunities. Those are numbers that he has not seen since 2023. So it is concerning for Derrick Henry. But like I said, in these next 2 weeks, we could see them try to just feed him to slow games down and just get things going here on offense. Week 5 is a matchup against Houston. So with no Lamar and Houston being a little bit more susceptible to the run than they are the pass, they're more of a run funnel defense. We could see Henry have a big game here, but I mean, he's obviously, you got to start him. So regardless of who's at quarterback, regardless of what the matchup is, you're starting Derrick Henry. So hopefully this is just a bounce back game for him. And like I said, I hope they start to feed him a little bit more without Jackson being there. He's obviously the next biggest player on this team, so they need to get him going. And another quarterback here that we're dealing with injury is going to be Brock Purdy. He came into this week. They play Thursday night. So really got to keep an eye here on today's practice report, and obviously Wednesdays, because with them playing Thursday, today's actually means something. Tomorrow's actually means something. He was projected, will not participate for Mondays, but he's coming in dealing with toe soreness, which is, I mean, he missed weeks 2 and 3 with the turf toe and the shoulder injury. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And right now, San Francisco in general is just destroyed. CMC is the only guy that you're starting here, regardless of who's at quarterback. He's getting just an unreal amount of volume. And Pearsall is dealing with a potential PCL injury. Juwan Jennings left the game on Sunday with a rib injury on top of his shoulder, on top of his everything injury. So just a lot of banged up guys. And I'm not looking to start a Kendrick Bourne. I'm not looking to start a Sky Moore. I'm not looking to start a Demarcus Robinson, no matter what the opportunities are, because I'm not trying to pick one of those dudes to go off. Maybe in like a DFS, like GPP, just Hail Mary shot, maybe. But even that, it's gross. But yeah, keep an eye on Purdy because you may have to make a Thursday pivot to another quarterback here. We'll talk about it more on Thursday once we get some more news, but just keep an eye out and make moves if you got to make moves now. Bucky Irving is, I was hoping that I would have a little bit more information this morning, but Bucky Irving getting an MRI. He finished off the game yesterday. He did seem like he sustained a little bit of an injury, but right now we're not getting a lot of information. So hopefully we get some information either during the show or right after the show on what's going on with Bucky and his MRI. But if there is some news where it's a questionable call on him, stash Rachaad White. And even in your deeper leagues, Sean Tucker, definitely a guy to stash just in case, because we've seen both these guys step up with volume and produce enough to be startable in fantasy. Like I said, it seems minor for Bucky's injury, so I don't think that it's anything where we got to panic and go grab these guys, but just keep an eye out. And if you need a running back spot start or a flex spot start, I think Rachaad White will step in perfectly there. But that is all I got for the news. Like I said, some big names out there dealing with injuries, and a lot of things shaking up here with bye weeks. It kind of makes things a little bit tougher to predict. Going to jump into the week 4 reactions coming up here, but first, going to talk about a little bit about Fast Draft. I switched over to the Flex 6 Frenzy draft style over on week 4, and I hit on Woody Marks. I did it. My last pick in the draft, I snagged Woody Marks, but I got let down by Devonta Smith and Jacoby Myers, and the Las Vegas Raiders in general just let me down in my game stack. So I hit on the Woody Marks call. I called my shot. I hit it, and then everything else just kind of fell to the wayside. So going to be back at it again here in week 5. Like I said, a little bit of a tighter slate here with the bye week. So it'll be interesting to see how the ADPs in this shake out. But I'm going to pass it over to the Podfather to go ahead and talk about the Flex 6 Frenzy promo that we got going on still.
I know your sad draft season is over, but just because the NFL season starts doesn't mean the drafting stops, because Fast Draft has the Flex 6 Frenzy. You're drafting 6 guys for the Sunday slate against 9 other competitors. It's fast, it's furious, it's fun, and as with everything on Fast Draft, there are no salaries. Woo! So go to draftfaster.com, get the app, use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
Oh yeah. So jump in week 5. Go get your drafts in. Go do the quick 6 super slam where you're just picking 6 guys anyway. No draft, no nothing. You got some premonitions. You got some Jason Altrell level premonitions about seeing the future, and you pick your 6 there. I love it. I like doing the draft a little bit better. It kind of helps with endless possibilities for the quick 6 super slam. I'm just like, I get the decision paralysis where I'm just like, I want it all. So that's why I like the Flex 6 Frenzy, because it kind of gives me that draft feel where I'll have these ideas, and being on the clock in that moment, I make the gut decision. After doing all of the research, I have my rankings, and I sit there and I look at them and I make the gut decision. So jump in for week 5 DFS over on Fast Draft. If you are depositing for the first time, use code JOwensFF to get a $50 deposit match. And let's make some money over there. It's fun. It's quick. It's easy. And like Podfather said, there's no salaries to deal with. But going to jump into the week 4. Ooh, that's not it. The week 4 scramble that we are having. The week 4 scramble that we went through. Like I said, the injuries kind of got us scrambling. Bye weeks got us scrambling, and all sorts of new information have us scrambling. So let's jump into it. I'm going to try to go game by game. And provide just like some quick hits on what I saw from the games, and just some stats here and there. Starting with last week's Thursday night game, the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. I think we're going to see the Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet situation be the most annoying situation for the entire season, as long as there is no injury. I think Charbonnet will be able to be used in a flex spot, especially with bye weeks and everything coming up. I think he is one of those flexes where, like, RB2, 1B type guys, where it's not going to be pretty. You could walk out with like 2 points, but we saw he had 1 touchdown and a second touchdown get called back. So he's very clearly used in the red zone on the goal line. But I'm just not confident starting him over a lot of guys right now. I think that he's very much a desperation type play, banking on a touchdown. I think that Kenneth Walker is very much the primary running back still, and he's the one that's got the most big play potential right now. He's as of week 3, he was number 6 in the NFL in running back explosive runs, which is runs greater than 15 yards, and he was number 16 in evaded tackles with 12. Charbonnet is nowhere near those numbers. He has 0 explosive runs over 15 yards. He has 0 or like 2 or 3 evaded tackles. So he's pretty much just taking what the offensive line and the defense are giving him. But again, red zone. So it's a little bit of give and take. I think in plus matchups for the Seattle Seahawks, you can start Charbonnet with more confidence. But I'm still really just looking to keep Kenneth Walker as that primary guy for the time being. But yeah, it's gonna be frustrating all year for both managers. Obviously less for the Charbonnet managers, because you just like seeing the fact that he's out there for 47% of the snaps on Thursday, and Walker was 50% of the snaps. So it's quite literally just slice it down the middle and give these guys both pretty much equal opportunity. Neither one really being used in the passing game, so it's not like you could even like lean like, oh, like Walker's being used in the passing game. They're both just not being used at all. They're just being they're battering rams, and right now the one that is the more explosive battering ram is going to be Kenneth Walker. So looking to stick there with Walker. But like I said, I think Charbonnet is going to be usable with all the bye weeks coming up here in the next couple weeks. Trey Benson on the flip side of this, he got the snap share, he had a solid workload, but right now Amari DiMercato got the touchdown, so it looks like a bad week for Trey Benson. And like I said, it wasn't a great week, but the volume was there, the snap share was there. He had 55% of the snaps to Amari DiMercato's 39%, and I think that was a bit skewed for the fact that DiMercato right now is still the 2-minute back. He's still the hurry up back, and that's where he got his touchdown. It was in comeback mode late in the game. So I think in closer games and even in positive game script, it's going to be Benson. So stick with it. And if the Trey Benson manager is panicking, try to make a low ball offer. Like, you can just sit there. You can throw some negs out there and be like, hey, Benson didn't look good, but go snag him if you can. If anyone drops him this week in a panic, go scoop him up immediately, because he's still going to be the 1A primary back in this offense. And it's obviously not the prettiest, but he's still got juice. So go scoop him if he's there. Marvin Harrison Jr. got the 1,000-pound gorilla off his back with that touchdown. And hopefully, like, that coming at the end of the game, everyone saw the emotion from him. Like, he's been having a tough time. The expectations were super high. The connection with Kyler Murray hadn't really been there. And it was slow. Just everything was looking bad. He had the 2 bad plays early that led to 2 interceptions for Kyler Murray. So it was good to see Kyler stick with him and feed him 10 targets on the game. And obviously, like I said, the touchdown at the end kind of gives a little bit of momentum here. Hopefully they can keep it moving, and Marv will start to emerge in his year 2 breakout. It's not like people are calling him a bust, but I don't think he's in the bust range yet. Stick with him. If you drafted him, stick with him. If you can still, I don't know if you can buy low after how he finished the game, but if anyone wants to try to dip out with how the game started, maybe try to go buy low on Marv, because I think this is just the beginning of the ball starting to roll here. Flipping over to the international game, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings, and Carson Wentz had one of the ugliest games that I was like, oh man, like, that was a terrible game from Wentz. And I go look at the stats, and I'm like, how the hell did he score like 20-something fantasy points? He ended up with 350 yards and 2 touchdowns in the air, but he also just had 2 ugly interceptions. So game script needed him to throw the ball, and he absolutely did. And I mean, he got Jordan Addison back, and he fed him. We're getting a consolidation here where it's Justin Jefferson and it's Jordan Addison. Justin Jefferson had 11 targets, so obviously you're not benching Justin Jefferson, and the buy low window might be shut now with Carson Wentz. Maybe you can rip him away from someone with the fear of JJ McCarthy coming back, but I don't think so. But Addison came back. He played 96% of the snaps. Love to see that. It's not like he was coming back from injury. It was suspension, but still love to see the first game back just get absolutely fed. 8 targets, still a little rusty. So when they had 4 receptions, but one of them was just a monster yak play. Almost scored, was so close. So he's back. He's an every down player, and he's someone that I feel like you gotta start in your lineup no matter what, because TJ Hawkinson ain't it. My bad on that, guys. It was an absolute smash spot against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It should have been, with Wentz throwing 350 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Hawkinson disappoints yet again, and he is very much in he's not even like a streamer. He's just like one of those guys where you'll get like 5 points out of him because he's going to get targeted like 5-6 times a game, but I'm not looking to start TJ Hawkinson again unless I absolutely need to. So if you feel like you got another tight end, or if there's a tight end on the waiver wire that you like over Hawkinson, I don't blame you. If you can package Hawkinson in for name value and go get someone else and then pick up a tight end, go do that, because right now it's just not it with Hawkinson. On the flip side, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenny Gainwell stole the show. Right now, they're going to be on bye going into week 5. So I don't think that there's going to be this big panic to go get Kenny Gainwell, especially because Jaylen Warren probably coming back week 6 when they come back from their bye. So it'll be interesting to see. But if you have the bench space, if you have the ability to stash Gainwell, he clearly did well with the volume. He looked good. Obviously, Minnesota, that's how you beat the Minnesota defense, is by running the ball. So he benefited a little bit from the matchup there, but I do think that he's definitely worth a stash right now. And I will be interested to see what the workload looks like with Jaylen Warren back. Obviously, Caleb Johnson, just toss that right into the dumpster there. Any hopes and dreams for him in 2025 are gone. It's Gainwell, it's going to be Warren, and that's it. But the real thing that I really liked from the Pittsburgh Steelers, I talked about DK Metcalf as a sit on Thursday because his ADOT was terrible. Everything was just gross. Like it's still a low volume offense. He only had 5 targets, DK Metcalf, but they were downfield. There was at least 3 that were like 10 plus yards downfield. So that's what I wanted to see. If I see that, if that's going to be what the ADOT looks like the rest of the season, where he's getting his shots, he's running deep crossers and things like that, we know that DK Metcalf is an athletic monster. We saw it. He scored a 80-yard touchdown on a deep crosser where he just 12 yards deep and he just takes it the rest of the way 70 yards, outrunning the entire defense. That's what DK Metcalf is. That's what DK Metcalf needs. If they're going to run him a bunch of curls and short routes, that ain't it. So if this is what Pittsburgh is going to do with DK Metcalf, I'm back in. I was out because the ADOT was gross. I was out because it's a low volume offense, and low volume offense plus low ADOT. But if the ADOT's back, if the deep shots are back, I'm back in. I'm back in on DK Metcalf, and it looks like that's what we are going to be seeing. It does kind of feel like it's going to be like a 2024 AJ Brown light. Like, I'm not going to say that DK Metcalf is going to be top 12 type wide receiver, but I do think that he is going to be a very steady wide receiver too, with some blow up potential. It's just, you're going to have to take the lumps with it. Let's see. We got Tyler in the chat question. I lost Nabers as well, but I still have Gibbs as my anchor. Should I accept this trade? You send Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kinshawn Judkins for DK Metcalf, Jordan Mason, and Chase Brown, full PPR. No, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. and DK Metcalf very similar. And I think Kinshawn Judkins and Jordan Mason, I'd rather have Kinshawn Judkins because Jordan Mason still has to deal with Aaron Jones when he comes back. And I think Chase Brown is speculative at best if he's going to have a bounce back. But even if you accept that trade, you're not starting Chase Brown. You're not how do you start Chase Brown right now? So I think I stick with Marvin Harrison and Kinshawn Judkins. Marvin Harrison's going to be in a higher pass volume offense. Kinshawn Judkins is the Cleveland Browns offense. So stick with what you got. Especially if you have Gibbs as your anchor, I think you'll be fine. Obviously, losing Nabers sucks, but I'm holding on to what you got there. Moving right along, we had Atlanta versus Washington. It was another not really like true Washington game because there's no Terry McLaurin, no Jaden Daniels. We had Marcus Mariota out there, and in that situation where there's no Terry McLaurin, Debo is the only guy that I'm starting on Washington right now. He is a must start. He's getting the volume. Even with Terry out there, he's getting the volume. So you stick with Debo, and the running backs are still it's gross. It's a true 30-30-30 split once again here. So all the Bill McCroskey hype, it's starting to evaporate. He's still, out of the 3 running backs there, he's still the only one that I want to have on my roster, but I'm not looking to start him. He did tie McNichols for the target lead out of the running backs. They both had 2 targets, so it's not like they're heavily involved in the pass game with Mariota out there. But no one's separating themselves out of these 3 enough for me to feel confident in starting Bill. I'm still hoping, but I just don't see it right now. On the Atlanta side, we saw the offense come alive after an absolutely embarrassing week 3. They came alive in week 4. London, Pitts both score touchdowns, 10 targets for London, 8 for 110 and a tutty. So this is the Drake London that everyone drafted in the late first, early second. Hopefully they can keep this rolling. They get the bye week, so they get some time to game plan. And hopefully we see that this is what the Atlanta offense will be, especially with a week to kind of calm Penix down. He gets to roll in with confidence here. But Kyle Pitts, he's someone that like I have him on my main home league. I have him as a tight end. I'm not looking to drop him to stream another guy. I'm looking to drop another guy, a bench stash, and hold on to Pitt because we saw Darnell Mooney go out with another injury. He's expected to be back for week 6, so it's not a serious injury, but it held him out of the game on Sunday. And Pitts had 5 targets, 5 for 5 for 70 yards and a touchdown. This is what Kyle Pitts is. He's not going to be the super floor guy that everyone wanted him to be. He's not going to be the unicorn that everyone wanted him to be, but he still is an athletic, young, good tight end who can put up games like this. I mean, 5 for 70 and a touchdown. That's 12, 18 PPR fantasy points right there. And that's what you need. So obviously Atlanta on the bye week. So you're going to be without Bijan. You're going to be without London, Pitts next week. So look for them to keep it rolling in week 6. We'll talk about them in a week. Buffalo and New Orleans kind of was an interesting game for a little bit there. But I mean, I got to come back to it. James Cook is him, dude. Like I was wrong. I sat here and I told you guys that there's no way that James Cook scores 18 touchdowns again and is a top 12 running back because of it. And what is he doing? He's doing nothing but scoring touchdowns. So, I mean, I am not too proud to admit that I was wrong. I did not see it. Like I said, I fully, in my projections, I statted them out for the same yards, same receptions, same carries, everything. I just had the touchdowns going down from 18 to like a more reasonable number, like 8 or 9. And he's already got what, 5 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns for James Cook in 4 weeks. Come on. He's just out here doing it. So props to you guys who believe that he would continue with the touchdown tear because he's doing it. On the flip side, with the Saints, not much to report here. It's the same shit that we're seeing from the Saints. But a stash that I like here is Kendre Miller. A pleasant surprise where he's going up in the snap share. He's going up in the opportunities, and he got 11 carries for 65 yards and a very nice touchdown. He's up to 31%, so it's not like he's splitting with Kamara in terms of like being on the field, but definitely think that he is a handcuff that is worth the stash here. If anything does happen to Kamara, he should step in and just be a bell cow type back. He should just go 1-for-1 replacement with Alvin Kamara here, and seeing some action out of him is promising here. Like I said, 11 for 65 and 1, and the run was a good one. It was a good long run. So those types of plays stick with coaches. They stick with fantasy players. So if you got space, Kendre Miller is a nice stash. Not looking to start him anytime soon, but just someone that I want to have on the back burner there. Looking at the Cleveland-Detroit game, Quentin Johnston, another guy that, Jason was right. He is that dude. He is literally the entire Cleveland Browns offense. The passing game is very much erratic. The targets are spread out. Cedric Tillman did get injured, but we saw someone new kind of step up. Isaiah Bond stepped up and is an interesting dynasty stash. He was an undrafted free agent, but he was a talented prospect. He was talented. He was projected to go very high, and he was projected to go higher in drafts, but dealt with a lot of off the field issues and some just personal issues that kind of just obviously left him undrafted. But he had 6 targets, and a lot of it was early. Like the first couple drives, we saw Isaiah Bond get targeted early and often. He ended up with only 3 catches for 58 yards. He's not anyone that I'm looking in seasonal leagues to hold on to. Like I said, Flacco's spreading the ball out, and we saw Dylan Gabriel get plugged in late in this game once it was out of hand. So we might see the Flacco Cleveland Browns end a little bit sooner than we were kind of told. Obviously, like the offense isn't even like putting up a fight really. So we could see the full see what the rookies got situation here, which it does limit the ceiling, in my opinion, of Judkins, but the volume is there so much that you're not benching Judkins. You're starting him on a weekly basis. He's the only player on this offense that is consistently producing. So stick with Judkins. Isaiah Bond, an interesting dynasty stash, and keep keep on with Harold Fannin Jr. Obviously didn't get the results this week. Only 2 receptions for 24 yards, but he had 6 targets. So one of the target leaders on the offense. But again, with things looking grim in Cleveland, I'm not looking all that excited there. The Lions are the Lions. Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, easy locks every week. And then, like I was saying a little bit earlier, Jameson Williams and David Montgomery are going to be matchup dependent flex RB2 wide receiver 2 type guys. It really just depends on what you think the game script is going to be and what the matchup looks like. If it's a game that looks like Detroit is going to get out early and just be able to run the ball a million times, which they will, start David Montgomery because we've seen him put up 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. If it looks like it's going to be a shootout against another powerful offense, start Jameson Williams because we've seen him go out there on 3 catches with 100-something yards and a touchdown or 2. So really, those 2 guys are going to be matchup dependent. Sam Laporta is kind of in the TJ Hawkinson zone where he's going to get you your 5-6 targets, and he might score a touchdown with one of them, but I'm not feeling great about that on a weekly basis. So if he's another guy where if you can sell based off of name value or package him and sell based off of name value, there's streaming tight ends out there that are very much on the same level as a Sam Laporta. Paul Vo, good morning. Good morning. Do you think Hunter Henry maintains the production besides the TDs? Let's see. What did Hunter Henry do again? He was a little bit quiet this week. He only had 2 targets. So that's the only thing. Like we've seen the fluctuating targets here where he had 11 targets on his big game. He's had 2 games now with one with 3 targets, one with 2 targets. And he's had 2 games with 8 targets and 11 targets. So I think he's very much in the, you hope to get a touchdown, very, very similar to all of these streamers. So I think he's worth a weekly shot, but I don't think that he's as locked in as he was last year as a guaranteed target. Jumping over to that New England Carolina game, we saw Diggs really step out and have his big game. He led the entire team with 7 targets. No one else had more than 3 targets out of the receiving group, and not even in the running back group. Really, Drake May only threw the ball 17 times, so this game just felt weird. Carolina's just not really helping anything. The New England defense set May up very well, so Drake May was the only one that looked good, but it wasn't on high volume. So I don't think that this game really tells us much other than maybe Diggs is finally feeling 100% and we start to see that take over, which I think hurts Hunter Henry because I think they operate in similar parts of the field. So I think Henry's going to be a touchdown dependent weeble wobble type play where you get the touchdown, you're happy, you don't, and you're just sitting there like, meh. But I mean, that's tight end all over the place. So I think he's still a good shot at it. He's still one of May's favorite targets, but I just don't think it's going to be as consistent and steady as we've seen. The running back situation here in New England also kind of just getting kind of gross where we saw Stevenson with the 2 fumbles last week. We saw Gibson with the fumble last week, and it didn't really matter because they split pretty 30-30-30 here in terms of opportunities. Henderson got the touchdown, so it looks like he got the best deal here. Gibson also with the touchdown, but right now I'm kind of looking to just hold Henderson on the bench. This was a smash spot for him against Carolina. And again, the defense kind of just had them in good field position, so there wasn't a lot of potential for yardage. So hold Henderson to wait and see. I think Stevenson's kind of done here. In terms of fantasy football, he's going to take carries and be annoying to Travion Henderson managers, but that's about it. On the Carolina side, we're seeing more of the same where it's just bad quarterback play and lots of unproductive missed targets for Tetairoa McMillan. Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle seemed like a pure split in terms of the box score, but really Andy Dalton and the backups got plugged in like in the 4th quarter. So I don't think that it's 100% indicative of what we're going to see here. So maybe try to go pry Hubbard away from the Hubbard manager to if he's a little bit panicky, because I think that we do see Hubbard kind of ramp back up. And I mean, who says we don't see another Bryce Young benching? It worked last year. Maybe they say it'll work again. Who knows? But I think that Chuba and Tetairoa McMillan are, you got to hold on to them just because the volume's there. It's not clicking quite yet. But as the season goes on, I think we're going to see a little bit more of the connection here. Paul, did Broncos use Harvey since they were up or giving him more usage each week? I think it's a little bit of both. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. I think that Denver was definitely using this as a tune-up game. They threw the ball 42 times with Bo Nix against the Cincinnati Bengals. They did not need to throw the ball 42 times. So I think it was Sean Payton trying to get Nix into a rhythm, and I think they wanted to get RJ Harvey into a rhythm as well. So I think that was kind of it. I think we do see things shift back to more of a 60-40 type split, a 65-35 type split with Dobbins and Harvey. But I do think that this is promising. I think that we might see more Harvey in the pass game especially. We might see Dobbins turn into the grinder here. Going to the Tennessee and Houston game. Tennessee just looks miserable. Tony Pollard is only saved by volume here, and he's the only Tennessee Titan that I'm really looking to start. But got to keep it in the back of your mind. Tyjae Spears is looking like he's returning to practice this week. And my fear is with Pollard and Tennessee looking so bad that they kind of start working Spears in a lot more than we might want as Tony Pollard managers. So I think Pollard slips down to a low ceiling flex play at best. We'll see what Spears looks like when he comes back from his injury. And in terms of the wide receiver room, I think Alec Ayomanor is an interesting stash, especially in Dynasty, but I'm just not looking to start anyone on this Tennessee Titans offense. Not until we start seeing things turn around. We had the new play caller this week, and it did not matter. 0 points. Did not matter. And then on the Houston side, Woody Marks just blow up game. He is the number one waiver fab dump. Drop 65 to 100% of your fab, depending on how badly you need a running back. The breakouts here. Obviously the game was out of hand, so maybe that fed into it, but he just looks so good that I don't see how Houston keeps him off the field. He had a 56% snap share to Chubb's 42%. And I mean, just dominated, was efficient, had 2 touchdowns, 17 for 69 on the ground with a touchdown, and then 4 for 50 in the air with another touchdown. So 119 total yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a coming out party right there. Like I said, I don't care that it's against Tennessee. That obviously probably fluff the numbers a little bit, but at the same time, like I said, coaches can't ignore that. Houston was another winless team that was desperate, and this team is desperate for a spark in general. I don't think that this is going to be the norm. Obviously, they're not playing the Tennessee Titans every single week, but I do think that this is where the takeover starts. I think we'll see a little bit more of a 50-50 split, but the fact that Marks is the clear passing down guy and was more efficient on the ground, I think this buys him opportunities, and you need to have him. If you didn't already have him stashed, number one waiver priority, big fab dollars spent on him. You need Woody Marks on your roster, because right now we're not seeing a lot of running back injuries. We're seeing a lot of wide receiver injuries. So to see a running back start to take over, a rookie running back start to take over without an injury, that is a key indicator right there. Go get him and start him confidently starting in week 5 here. Another rookie running back that had his coming out party once again. Omarion Hampton has strung together 2 good games here. This obviously is just it was a big game. He went 12 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown on the ground, and then 5 for 5 in the air. Only 37 yards, so it's just quick dump offs, but still 5 for 5, especially in PPR leagues. That's huge right there. It's wheels up all the way. This is going to be Omarion Hampton the rest of the season. He's going to have big games like this, and he's going to have the volume to, even when he doesn't have the big games where he's not killing you. So this is RB2 locked and loaded. Omarion Hampton with RB1 upside. If you were able to snag him away from the panicky manager after weeks 1 or 2, congratulations. You just got like a league winning potential running back there. And flipping over to the passing game. Are we panicking on Ladd McConkey right now? A little bit. He only had 1 catch for 11 yards. He had 6 targets. So it's still very much like the passing game is very much huge Keenan McConkey. But the pecking order is not guaranteed. I ran a poll last week. All these guys were ranked very closely, and everyone was still the most confident in Ladd McConkey. I don't think that's the case anymore, though. I mean, Quentin Johnston led this team with 13 targets and the breakout continues. Like I said, he's doing it in all phases of the field. That was like one of my starts from Thursday, where I said to start him confidently. It does not matter, and it paid off. I mean, you got to stick with QJ. You can't bench QJ. You can't bench Keenan Allen, and I don't think you can bench McConkey yet, but it's getting bad. It's getting kind of gross. If we see one more week, if week 5 is another week where he's the last in targets and he's not doing anything, I may start to look to bench him here, but I think you just got to stick with it. The team is passing enough. And I just think that you're just kind of seeing what it's going to be, where it's not going to be consistent, but I still think that the big weeks are coming here. So we'll see with McConkey. I'm still holding, I'm still starting him, but it's looking a little rough. Talked about it earlier. Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo are the only New York Giants I'm looking to use in my fantasy teams. The ceiling is obviously lower with Dart without Nabers there, but I think that the rushing ability and the fact that he's scrambling so much is going to negate that to a certain extent, where he gets a little bit of ceiling back there and a nice floor. So I like streaming Dart here. And I think Cam Scatabo is, once again, that dude in terms of just volume and just bashing his head into a wall a million times, but doing it effectively. We saw the juggernaut matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the A.J. Brown panic continues. He had 9 targets. Great. He only caught 2 of them for 7 yards. So the usage just isn't there what people drafted him to be. Obviously, Dallas Goedert sniped the 2 passing touchdowns. So I think that we're just, it's similar to Ladd McConkey, where this is what we're going to expect, where it's going to be inconsistent, but the blow-up games are there. The 2 touchdowns going to Dallas Goedert sucks. And obviously we see subtweets going out with A.J. Brown again. So that's tough. But that's the A.J. Brown Philly passing game experience. If he's not having the big game, he's having a quiet game. And the quiet game just happened to be killing you is the issue. So maybe just wait for an A.J. Brown blow-up game and just sell. If you want out, I don't blame you. But I would not suggest selling on this, especially after 9 targets. I think that they're still trying to get him involved, and the squeaky wheel always gets the grease, especially with A.J. Brown and studs like that. So I think hold if you want to sell, wait for a big blow-up game, and then bail out if you want out of the A.J. Brown experience. But this is what you signed up for at the end of the day. For Tampa Bay, Chris Godwin came back with 10 targets. He tied Igbokwe for the lead there. Not much on the stat sheet, only 3 catches for 26 yards, but 10 targets. He's another one of those guys like a Jordan Addison where he came in and he was used heavily. 81% snap share, second out of the wide receivers, only behind Igbokwe at 89%. So I think that Godwin is very much needed on this team. He is very much a focal point of this team coming back. Obviously, 10 targets screams that. And I think that there's going to be enough to go around once Evans comes back. I think that is going to be very similar to the Chargers, where we know the 3 dudes. You got to start the 3 dudes of Evans, Godwin, Igbokwe. You just might have to play a little bit of roulette here, where you're hoping that your guy is the guy for that game, but you have to start all 3 of these guys. Should you trade Chuba for Waddle? I think you're selling a little bit low there. If you are desperate for wide receiver, I think that Waddle gets some stability here with the Tyreek Hill injury, but I think you would be selling low on Chuba Hubbard in a blowout game where the backups got a lot of work. I wouldn't personally, like I said, unless you are desperate for a wide receiver right now, I would hold Chuba and try to sell a little bit higher off of a better game. I think better times are coming. We saw it with Carolina last year. They started miserably, and then they started to build some steam towards the middle to end of the year. So I'm holding Chuba in that situation, unless desperate. We had sorry, lost my train of thought there. Jacksonville versus San Francisco. ETN squashed all of your Bayshell Tootin hopes and dreams and said, I'm still the bell cow. Get out of here with your Tootin nonsense. But again, Tootin dealing with injury. Another week where he was in a non-contact jersey during practice. So ETN's the bell cow until further notice. But I do think that Tootin does start to have some weeks where he starts getting more and more work here once he gets healthy. Right now, I don't think he's healthy. So stick with ETN. 21 touches compared to the rest of the running backs combining for 6. I already talked about the San Francisco 49ers. Keep an eye on Purdy. I'm not starting Pearsall even if he plays. I'm not starting Juwan Jennings if he plays. I'm not starting any of the Kendrick Bourne, Demarcus Robinson, Sky Moore. I'm not starting any of those guys. I'm not starting Jake Tongs. I'm not. It's Christian McCaffrey. And if Brock Purdy plays, I'll play Brock Purdy, just because he can dump it off to Christian McCaffrey, who can go all the way down the field. I might look to pivot off of Purdy. As Paul said, I talked about it earlier too. Purdy is also questionable. Keep an eye on the injury reports today and tomorrow for Purdy's status. I'll be talking on Thursday morning with you guys about it, so just keep an eye on it. With the Colts versus the Rams, the Indianapolis Colts seem like they came back to earth. They're human again, but they still did okay. Danny Dimes got kind of screwed over by A.D. Mitchell throwing a bomb touchdown out the back of the end zone, trying to celebrate early. So that would have helped his stat line a bit. It looks disappointing. So if anyone drops Danny Dimes out of like, oh, he's back to being bad, Danny Dimes, scoop him up, because I think he's going to be perfectly fine. This was a tough matchup. And like I said, the stat sheet looks a lot different with an extra bomb touchdown on there. If A.D. Mitchell doesn't throw it out the back of the end zone. Alec Pierce should be back next week, coming back from concussion. So stick with Dimes, stick with JT. And then Michael Pittman and Tyler Warren, both must starts weekly. I think those four, you gotta lock them into your lineups on a weekly basis here. On the Rams side, you know the deal. Kyren, Puka, Devontae Adams, yes. But Blake Corum kind of sneaking up on Kyren Williams in terms of opportunities. Kyron's still getting 65 to 70% of the snap share. But I mean, Corum's been hanging in there at that 30%. So very much handcuff situation is still a clear 1-2, but I think Corum is a priority handcuff stash. He's still only 30% rostered on Sleeper, and he's very clearly the only guy behind Kyren right now that is getting the work. So I think that it's Jarquez Hunter was talked about as, oh, he's going to be the handcuff behind Corum, but Corum's looking like he's finally worked his way into the fold with McVay here. And again, I don't think he's going to be usable. So if you need someone to plug in, that's not Blake Corum. But if you have a stash spot or a deeper bench, Blake Corum needs to be held. Because if anything does happen to Kyren Williams, Blake Corum's going to step right in, and this offense is still very good as long as Matthew Stafford is the quarterback. So I want whatever running back is back there getting the majority of the carries. And like I said, Kyren, it's always been Kyren for the past 3 years, but I think that we're finally seeing Corum start to get ramped up, and he is going to be the primary guy if Kyren does go down to injury. On the Kansas City offense, Kansas City played the Baltimore Ravens. We talked about Baltimore earlier, hoping to see Henry get used more with Lamar Jackson looking like he's going to be out. Obviously, it's tough to start a Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews with Cooper Rush or Snoop Huntley in the backfield. So I think really it's going to be Derrick Henry is the only Baltimore Raven you're confident in for the next couple weeks while we wait and see on Lamar Jackson's hamstring injury. The Kansas City offense, they got it. They got the matchup they needed to get this offense back on track. And I think this is another one of those, like I talked about the Dallas Cowboys being that kind of defense. The Baltimore Ravens with all the injuries and just the poor scheming look like another tune-up, get-right matchup here for offenses. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns, and Xavier Worthy in his first game back completely relegated Tyquan Thornton. Thornton dropped him as long as it looks like he was just a Xavier Worthy fill-in and doesn't have a role outside of if Worthy gets injured again. So my bad on that one. Roster clogging type wide receiver, as Jason said, drop him. I thought that Thornton might have some stability still or some target still, but it was literally just the role that he was filling in for. So with Worthy back, he is the primary guy there. So you get another 2 weeks of Xavier Worthy being the absolute one, and he's really the only guy that I want to start. You got to kind of start Travis Kelce as well, just because tight end's gross, and I mean he's getting the targets still, five targets. Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, Travis Kelce, these guys were all just they're gross tight ends that are going to get 5-6 targets, but what are they going to do with it? If they don't score a touchdown, you're sick. The running back situation in Kansas City is really gross, though. We have another three-headed monster here with Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Brashard Smith. I don't want any of these guys, really. Kareem Hunt gets the 2-minute work and the goal line work, which is great. Pacheco did score this week on a receiving touchdown, weirdly, in the red zone. And then Brashard Smith got a little bit of work, and there's whispers that he will be used more. I'll believe it when I see it with Kansas City. But if you can trick someone or package Pacheco up off of this touchdown game, sell. He's another guy where I don't want anything to do with this backfield. It's disgusting, and there's just no one emerging as a guy. Brashard Smith worth the stash if you think that he can. I don't think he's going to. I think he's just a gadgety type guy, but we will see. Obviously, Kansas City needs help on offense still. It's pretty much just Worthy and Kelsey, and Kelsey's not doing anything. But we do see Rashee Rice back in 2 weeks. And I think that at that point, it's going to be super consolidated. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and nothing else matters on this offense. The game that I was hyping up so much, the Las Vegas Chicago Bears game, it was a bit of a letdown. The Bears, it wasn't pretty, but they got the job done. Swift was, the stat line looked ugly, but he's getting the volume. And I mean, you gotta follow the volume there. We could see improvement. We've seen 2 weeks in a row now where the Chicago offense looks passable. They look like they're an NFL offense finally. So you stick with Swift. You have to. Roma Dunze obviously have to, but I'm benching DJ Moore until further notice. He's out there. He's running the routes. He's getting. He's doing decent targets. Like he's 5 targets. Again, 76. Oh, he did have a 76% snap share. So snap share did go down as Olamide Zaccheaus out-targeted him this week, but you can't start him right now. It's Roma Dunze as the primary target. So you really got to stick there. I think Cole Kmet, again, Chicago's on bye this week, so no one's going to go scoop up Cole Kmet, but wait until next week and maybe scoop him if you need a tight end spot start. And we have one more rookie running back finally go off. Ashton Genty, another guy that everyone was panicking, calling a bust, saying that we told you you wasn't going to do that good. And he comes out and drops 3 touchdowns on everyone's head. So everyone just has to relax. Obviously, it's the Chicago Bears defense. It's not, again, numbers are fluffed, but 3 touchdowns is 3 touchdowns. We did see the Las Vegas Raiders shift from being pass heavy with Geno Smith to go to only 21 pass attempts, and Genty got 21 rushing attempts. So they lost the game. So it's not like, oh, this is the formula, but we did see a shift here in offensive play calling to be a lot more balanced, and obviously that benefits Genty. So we'll see how the Las Vegas offense looks next week, if they continue to feed Genty or if they kind of go back to a pass heavy setup with Geno Smith. So that really, like Trey Tucker, like I said, 17 targets like in weeks 2 and 3, only 2-3 targets here in week 4. So he's back down to a matchup desperation flex, in my opinion, a matchup dependent desperation flex. So keep an eye on the matchups. If you need to throw a wide receiver in there, there's worse options out there. And the Sunday night football game, the last game that I'm going to talk about here, the Green Bay Packers are the softest franchise in the entire NFL. Not saying that I'm biased or anything as a Detroit Lions fan, but just absolutely soft play calling in overtime to play for the tie. And everyone's going to sit here and say, oh, Jordan Love looked great. Jordan Love looked good. But his stat line was definitely boasted up by 3 1-yard touchdown passes to Romeo Doubs. So I don't think that we could have seen Josh Jacobs have a 5 touchdown game here if they really wanted to. And if you have Romeo Doubs, sell now. There's no way that he's scoring 3 touchdowns a week. It's not like he was like heavily targeted. It was just in the red zone on the 1-yard line. It was Doubs. It sucks because Matthew Golden didn't have his big breakout, but he looked good still. He had, 6 targets, 59% snap share. So it went back down. Doubs is obviously like on the field the most, especially in 1 and 2 wide receiver sets. We saw Wicks kind of overtake Golden in terms of the snap share. So I think Golden is just kind of a high ceiling play, but I'm not really looking to go with him. I don't see Jordan Love throwing the ball 43 times a week, especially since he's only been over 30 attempts once before that, only above 25 attempts once before that. So I think Green Bay does want to run the ball and play defense. Their defense is looking a little bit more shaky. But really Josh Jacobs is the main guy that I want. And then Tucker Kraft had 2 touchdowns get ripped away from him at the last second as he went down at the 1 yard line. So stick with Kraft, stick with Jacobs. And if you can sell Dobbs right now, I would sell Dobbs. And then the rest of the receiving core, I'm not really looking there. Dallas, they're still the shootout team that is going to sustain shootouts, apparently, even without CeeDee Lamb. So it's promising to see them fight in what was expected to be a tough matchup and what was expected to be a low scoring game for them. So they're still the best shootout team out there. Pickens, Javonte Ferguson must starts, the only starts. Dak Prescott if you're feeling frisky. But you start your Cowboys and you start whoever the hell is going up against the Cowboys. I don't care what team it is. I don't care what offense it is. It could be Carolina Panthers against Dallas Cowboys, and I'm starting my Carolina Panthers because the Cowboys are just facilitating shootout after shootout after shootout after shootout. They've hit the over 3 out of 4 times, and the only time they didn't was week 1 against Philly, where we had the hour-long lightning delay that kind of just took the wind out of the game. So stick with your matchups there against the Dallas Cowboys. But that was week 4, guys. An hour and 20 minutes. I'm out of breath. I'm thirsty. Goodness gracious. I appreciate anyone that stuck around this entire time. I appreciate you guys. If you watch it through, we're here. Next episode is going to be week 5. The start sits and look at week 5 here. So it's going to be a little bit interesting again with all the bye weeks and all the injuries. So keep an eye out on those injury reports. I'm going to be back here Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on the Player Profiler Now Twitter and on the YouTube page. Like I said, be sure to subscribe and set up those notifications on YouTube so you can be with us live every Tuesday and Thursday. That is all I got today. As always, be sure to follow me at JOwens_FF on Twitter, at JOwensFF on TikTok. If you're going to go ahead and use Fast Draft this week, $50 deposit match using code JOwensFF. That is all I got. Thank you guys so much for breaking down week 4 with me. Go get Woody Marks. Go try to sneak a Kenneth Gainwell, and then see what you can do with a Wan'Dale Robinson or a Darius Slayton. Good luck on your waivers, guys. I'll catch you on Thursday.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.